Good morning, everyone. It is November the 19th, 2025. As people are aware or not aware of course, in other countries, you're not aware that Canada's been having a healthcare crisis for some time, and that's for not enough healthcare workers, the burnouts and that we're suffering. And this is, we started seeing this just a bit before the pandemic. And then we started seeing it through the pandemic because they were burning out left, right, and center, trying to take care of people. And of course, the lockdowns were just awful. They were overburdened in the hospitals since people were not allowed to visit their relatives and things. And the people in the hospital, they were doing all the work. And it took its toll through the pandemic. And then, of course, as the pandemic proceeded, we started not fully realizing too, that we had a toxic drug situation with the drug crisis starting to get into full bloom at the same time. So by the time we came out of that pandemic, things were even worse. And I could see myself just living down where I am in Lower Town here, the sirens constantly going. The healthcare workers were run off their feet. Our police officers, our firemen, our ambulance workers were just run off their feet because of the amount of overdoses. And it was just a free-for-all. It was just like they were dropping like flies on the streets here at the time, and we're running around trying to get the overdose kits for them. And even just as myself walking down the street to make sure we had kits on us as well to try and help out. So it was just a big free-for-all is what you could call it. It was just terrible. But it's also continued. We're a shortage of doctors now. A lot of doctors have retired as well because they're at the right age. And it's been one thing after another with the health care system here. So it's taken a while to build up to where we're getting. Today's video that I'm going to put up is on Alberta. This was earlier this month, and they're talking about the burnover of the crisis workers and what they're experiencing as well. But even with what they're experiencing, there's a few good points to it. They have started getting more treatment centers and things in place. But again, the big thing about getting things in place is everything costs money. That's the bottom line. Always comes back to money. And that's why I'm happy to see where our Prime Minister is trying to get our economy going. And of course, that's what really spurs your whole country, is the economy has to be up and running. So that when you have all these social problems, all these problems come up, you have the ability to pull out the money, not run deficits on the country like is being run right now. But we have to get the economy up and running, and that's the biggest thing right now. And the tariffs have come at a terrible time too, and so that's crushing everyone as well. And the cost of living going up. So we're in a major crisis, and we're all trying to do the best that we can. And I can see around me where communities are stepping up to the best of their abilities, and pilot projects and things that they're trying as well. So it is coming. So there's still some good news in this, and there's still lots of hope available. But it's like doing a patchwork quilt right now. And all it's doing is coming in patches wherever we can grab a little bit of money and throw some money on it. So it's not like, and it depends on how big the quilt is. So right now all we can do is a small quilt with small patches to fill in the quilt. But to do a bigger one right across the country here, to do a big quilt, it's going to take a lot more patches to put together. And those patches are going to have to come from income. And that's what our Prime Minister is looking at. But there are going to be sacrifices. And I am one for not only the economy, but I'm also an environmentalist as well. And I see what's happening. Having to cut back right now on the amount of trees, for example, that the government was planning on putting out the money for, to replace the trees that were getting burnt down in our forest fires that we've experienced. And so there are going to be some awful sacrifices that we're going to have to make. It's not going to be an easy juggling job. I'm glad I'm not a politician right now or in the government trying to juggle this, but It's going to be a hit and miss at times. It's going to be, everyone's going to have to understand and be patient that this is not going to come overnight. We've seen what's happened when an economy goes down very quickly because very bad decisions are made, and I'm referring to the United States there. And when people don't want to work together, and what happens? And then you get a lot of infighting, and it's just a terrible mess. And of course, the whole world right now is looking at the United States and realizing, uh-oh, what a mistake the voters made on that one. But everything's getting better. We're working on our side of the border the best we can. I'm seeing definitely some improvements. It's coming. But this is one of the things that my parents and my grandparents told me, that things don't come overnight. This is one of the things I'm seeing about our young people because, with the technology we have, well, we can just go out and buy this, grab this. We don't have to do things like the old days. You know, we can go to the grocery store and pick up our meat, for an example, out of our meat counter. We don't have to take our guns and go out in the forest and do the hunting for it. Everything is provided for us, which is great. But there's a lot of sacrifices that we had to make in even getting to this far, as my parents used to tell me, and my grandfather used to tell me too. There are sacrifices. And this is what our Prime Minister has been talking about too. And I'm glad that he got in for the next vote. But we also have to protect our country. And there's an old expression, as my grandparents and my mom and dad always told me, you have to spend money to make money. And that's always the way it's been. But unfortunately, we have people who are so greedy, they think that they have to go out and spend money. They can just take other people's money through the system and have their money. Just hand it to them on a silver platter, let's put it that way. But there's a lot of things that are coming out since the pandemic. A lot of bad's coming out, but at the same time the bad's coming out, it's turning around and being good, because we're seeing the things that are happening. And we now know that we have to change things, and people are coming together. And the fact that I'm seeing more and more people coming together, and the big demonstrations, and communities coming together, even in the States, against ICE and that, and fighting the problems that are happening, I see hope for the future. So don't give up hope. And I'm just going to put up this video on the workers' burnout, and this will be solved too. But it's just, please be patient, take time. So everyone, take care, be safe, watch your surroundings, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.